Okay, the next one of the rational ethical theories is act utilitarianism. It is based on the studies or they are being proposed by the English philosophers Jeremy Bentham and John Stuart Mill. He's also a very famous guy. They're famous guys. And they conclude that an action is good if it benefits someone, an action is bad if it hurts someone. That's the, let's say, idea behind their approach here, which is called act utilitarianism, and you can also say that it is consequentalism. Consequentalism, right? You can look it up on the Wikipedia. It is based on the principle of utility, the greatest happiness principle. We calculate the value of happiness here. And they argue that an action is right or wrong to the extent that it increases or decreases the total happiness of affected parties. So there will be positive sides and negative sides here. And utility is the tendency of an object to produce happiness, advantage, benefit, good, pleasure, or prevent unhappiness, prevent disadvantage, prevent cost, or prevent evil, or prevent pain. Okay? These are all nice things that we need to increase in this type of approach. So you put the benefits here on the left side of the scale, and you put the harmful things on the right side of the scale. There is nothing strict like fully good and fully bad, but if the grand total is in the favor of benefits, you say that this action is good, this action is right. Jeremy Bentham argues that there is no such thing as any sort of motive that is in itself a bad one. You see how it contradicts to Kantianism. If motives are good or bad, it is only on account of their effects. Okay? It just looks at the consequence. So no morality of action on itself. It is the exact opposite of Kantianism, you see. But the consequence of an action, here you see the morality. This is his approach. This results in consequentialist theory, the result. Consequence means result. And which is called utilitarianism. So you just check the grand total, positive sides, negative sides, and you make the over sum. That's it. Here, this all beings, not only for humans, they extend this to all beings here, pain and pleasure as well. They also extend this to even to animals. And in fact, it has a very detailed calculus. We will see. So let's evaluate a scenario using act utilitarianism. There will be a outskirt curvy there is a curvy outskirt highway in a particular state, for example, and they will rebuild it with a more straight one, just a better road, for example. Do you think it will be a good action? So they go ahead and do the $cent benefit versus the cost of it, and they first calculate the cost. We will condemn this much of houses, and it will result in this much of price cost, and the construction cost will be this one, and there will be some lost habitat this much, and the resultant total cost will be this much, for example. Okay, you're converting everything to dollars and cents here. And there will be 15,000 cars per week passing from that road, resulting in one less mile travel for them, resulting in, if you, let's say, assume that it costs 40 cents per mile for cars, it will result in this much of benefit per week. If you expect a lifetime of 25 years, a total of, you're expecting this much of benefit here. As you see, this is the cost and this is the benefit. What is the result of this checking grand total here? See here, if it is this one, if it is this one, you say that this action is good. Does this approach seem familiar to you? Yes. Many of the managers or many of the leaders or many of the directors use this approach for concluding an action, for deciding on an action. It's pretty good. Okay, this will result evaluated as a good action. However, translation to this much of things to translation is hard, because Bentham extends this beyond simple benefits and harms and pleasure or pain. Because if you see the Bentham's original list, you will be amazed. Look at this. This is the translation criteria in Act Utilitarianism. You will take into consideration the intensity of the experience, the duration, certainty, propinquity, presundinity, like what is it? It is able to do. It is ability to produce more experience of the. All of them should be converted to a single unit, for example, dollars or something else. Purity and extent. It's not very easy. You see, not very practical. So as you see, what are the benefits or what are the positive sides of this? It focuses on happiness. Good. Because we're trying to be happy in a society. We're trying to increase happiness in our society. It is down to earth. It is more practical than Kant's categorical imperative in, let's say, particular scenarios. We're trying to... It's not maybe more strict like Kant's. And if you have a diverse group, but you need to take a collection with that diverse group, it is more practical to use. Suppose that there is a need for a new prison in a particular city, and it will be built in a district, it will be built in a neighborhood. None of the people will want that, right? Okay, none would say that, okay, let's build this prison in our district, but you need to rely on a criteria, for example, how many people live there and what will be the effect of, let's say, on the property value there. You can evaluate it, and you can choose the less damaging or less disadvantageous area for prison building, for example. In such cases, it is more usable and it is more down to earth than Kant's categorical imperative, because if you use Kant's, maybe you cannot end up with a conclusion here. It's impossible. It is comprehensive even in no-brain solutions. I mean, just tell to your mother that your hair is very nice. That's it. She will be happy. The result will be good. However, let's take a look at the disadvantages. Utilitarian calculus is very detailed, as we just discussed. Where to draw the line? How deep we can go by detail here, calculating. And it is not practical to put so much energy in every simple moral decision. Are you crazy? I mean, to this much of calculation for every situation here, like it's not very practical or easy, as we discussed. And it ignores our innate sense of duty. For example, in a particular situation, let's say there will be a, let's say, negative side, and this is the positive side of breaking your promise, for example. You will choose this one, and this action is right here. But it will ignore our innate sense of duty. Some actions can be universalized. It ignores that because it just focuses on the particular result of that case. And it is susceptible it is open to the problem of moral luck. What is moral luck? You cannot fully know the consequence of an action because it is in future, okay? Because in the goodwill, you're thinking about, or in your what you do as an action here is now. I mean, you can understand what it is, but the result is in future. You cannot predict the result directly. Suppose that you bring some flowers to your aunt who had a surgery, and she will be kept in a hospital for 2 days, okay, God forbid, and you bring some flowers to her, and you didn't know that she has allergies, and she gets very worse. For example, after you bring her flowers. I mean, so you see that bringing flowers will be a wrong action now. In fact, it is something nice, but what happens here is more luck problem. It is open for this active utilitarianism because the consequences or results of an action can be only seen in future. You cannot fully know you cannot know them 100% what will happen in future. It's susceptible. But it is an objective rational theory to justify what is right or wrong, and we put it in our list as well as a second rational ethic.